Good morning. Good morning. Well, I don't know what time of day it is for you. It's pretty early morning for me. I came to share with you my book reading journal. I wanted to talk about what I read during the month of April. Now, full disclosure, because, we're not going to pretend it's one thing when it's another. It's actually June 1st. But I've been a little late. So I put out a video for what I read in January, February, and March, and I didn't read a whole lot during those months. So that was easy. But April, I read 8 books, which was more than I read in the first 3 months of the year. And I should have put a video out the first May 1st, but I didn't. And you know what? That's okay. I'm kind of in a that's just okay phase. But I'm going to share what I what I read. Pardon me. I did not bring the books out. I'm going to give you the titles and I'm going to give you the authors. And if you have questions, you can put them in the comments and I'll answer the best I can. Pardon me. So the first book on the list is Echoes of Twilight by Naomi Rawlings, and that's Rawlings, Naomi Rawlings, Echoes of Twilight. This is her Dawn of Alaska series. It's one of the books in her Dawn of Alaska series. And so I won't say a lot about it. What I will say is, pardon me, a group was out in the mountains in Alaska on a trek. They were studying plants and they got kind of lost and were trying to find their way out and needed assistance. Because they were a group of well-known people, it was recognized that they were missing, and not really a tracker, but that might be the right word. Someone was sent out to search for them. This is historical fiction. The Dawn of Alaska series is set when the United States purchased Alaska from Russia. So there are Russians who live in Alaska at that time. And the entire series is fairly well focused on one family, and different family members have their book and their story. But all the family members have parts of each story, and it kind of carries on. It's best to read it in order. Pardon me. It is best to read it in order because the story builds on itself with each book. It is historical fiction. There's a lot of, there's romance. It's a romance, but it's Christian. It's another part, but there's a lot of just facts about what was going on during the time that this Dawn of Alaska series is set in. And there are real things that were happening, pardon me, and these books cover them. Now, that goes from the way that the natives who were actually living in Alaska at the time that Russia was inhabiting it, at the time the United States began to inhabit it, there were natives who already lived there. And so there's a lot of learning about them, and there's learning about the hunting, learning about the environment there, learning about the politics that went on, learning about the different people who struggled to use the gifts and talents that they've been given or had been given in order to better the community they lived in. There, it's I have found it to be a really delightful series. It I listen to it, but I do believe if I were to read it, I would enjoy it. But I listen to it, and I have found the audio to be very delightful. I can tell you that Kobo, if you have a Kobo, the audio Kobo Plus, the audio subscription, or the audio and ebook subscription. I have the audio and ebook subscription of the Kobo Plus, and if you have that, you can these books are on that subscription. There's also another series of hers set in Texas that is on that subscription as well. And what I've been told, did not know this, but what I've been told is that one that's set in Texas, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but if you look up Naomi Rawlings on there, you'll find it. But that series comes before this series, and again, I did not know that. So I feel like when I go back and listen to that series, I will maybe find some characters I've already met. This series is definitely an easy listening series for me. It's one that I can listen to it again and again and again. I'm really, really comfortable listening to it. I don't want to use the word entertaining, but it's a good companion. You know, if you're a reader that enjoys a companion book, and if you're a reader who, like I do a lot of work and I need something to listen to, I find a good companion book while I'm listening, while I'm working, to listen to while I'm working is actually very helpful for me. This past April, I discovered that I really enjoyed Tamara Alexander as an author. Now, I had not read her before this. I'd collected a few of her books, had not read her. And I kept thinking at some point I'm going to try these books and see what I think. But I hadn't read her. And so I read the book. It's the Fountain Creek Chronicles series, and it's book 1, Rekindled, and it's by Tamara Alexander. And that book was so good. Just the short version of what goes on in it. There's a man and his wife, and they live in a cabin in the Colorado Territory. So this is historical fiction. And they're ranching there. And she loves him so much. And he loves her so much too. But he has a lot of issues from his past. He's jealous. He's insecure. He has a temper. And he's working really hard to build this ranch, to make something of himself. And she gave up all the wealth of her family for him. And that is, I mean, she did it because she loves him, but it kind of became a wound for him, you know, a point of insecurity. And the ranch is struggling. She doesn't know that. He doesn't tell her these things, but the ranch is struggling. So he sees a way that he can do a business deal and better the ranch. So he decides not to tell her. He just tells her he's going to the North Pastures and he'll be back within the week. And he leaves. And this is the day after Christmas, or it's Christmas Day, you know. And he ends up being robbed along the way. And while he's hiding in, like, they're shooting, one man robbed him and another man killed him, and then was going after this man who's the husband. And so while the husband is hiding in this kind of storage cabin thing, the man sets the cabin on fire. And when the husband wakes, he is so badly burned. His body is so badly burned, but he's being tended to, and they keep giving him draughts, I believe it was called, things to drink to put him back to sleep, pain relief, strong pain relief. And so thus begins kind of this journey. He's missing. She's trying to keep the ranch going. He's still in the process of healing. But what happens through this book, which is so beautiful, is you walk through a man and his wife, and you see how God moves in both of their lives. It is one of the most beautiful books I've ever read. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Truly a beautiful book. Tamara Alexander did an excellent job, and I really felt the faith in the story, and I really felt the immersion of the story as well. So it was very, very, very beautiful. I tried a Charles Martin book, my first time that I ever read Charles Martin. The book is called Send Down the Rain, and this was the first time that I'd ever tried one of his books, and so I was very intrigued. It is, in essence, a Vietnam story. The man, there's you meet these children, you see kind of where they're coming from. You meet a handful of people in the beginning, and it seems like it's all disjointed, and you're like, when is this going to make sense? Well, he is showing you, he's setting up the story, so that when you do begin, you've got some foundation. And in essence, this at one point, this woman and her children are in the mountains, and they're lost and need rescuing, and this man who's a Vietnam veteran rescues them, and then discovers that there's a lot more rescuing that needs to happen. And then he comes face to face with his past, and he keeps doing the next right thing and facing the next chapter of his past. And we really learn a lot. And it's a beautiful example of someone who has really struggled through war, but someone who is self-sacrificing, someone who just does the right thing regardless of where they're struggling. And it's heart-wrenching, it's beautiful, you wish that you could see his healing happen, but you understand that in the end, you understand just how much that would involve so many people, and the story is just so deep. When I started it, I could not put it down. It really grabbed me, and I read it as a buddy read with Beth, my friend Beth, and we neither one could put it down. It really grabbed both of us deeply. So it was my first Charles Martin read, and I will read more from him. The next book I read was the second book in the Tamara Alexander Fountain Creek Chronicles series. It is entitled Revealed, and I don't want to tell you anything about it because these books walk in order. You need to read them in order. They build on each other. I will say it did not disappoint. It was a redemptive story that I truly enjoyed. I did feel at the very end she kind of closed up all of the little tabs a little too quickly. I feel like I would have appreciated another 50 to 100 pages to really close it up well. But even with that, it was a delight to read. I really, truly enjoyed it. The next book I read is Melody Carlson, and this is the first Melody Carlson book I've completed, and it is entitled Welcome to the Honey B&B. Pardon me. And what we have with this book is there's a man and his wife, and the man has been diagnosed with dementia. I believe it is a form of dementia, and his wife is caring for him, and their daughter, Shirley, what are you going on about? My chicken Shirley. Their daughter and granddaughter come to live there to help, and they create a B&B, and there are a lot of you learn a lot. You go through what it's like for the caregiver. You go through what it's like for the man who's suffering with the dementia. You see other people in the community, neighbors, and how they respond. And I really felt like it was moving. It was touching. I have family members who are struggling through some similar things, and I was really able to look at it and, gain some perspective and some comfort too. It was a good read. It was a good read. The next book I read was by Tracy Peterson and Kimberly Woodhouse. Now, I would say everything that I have mentioned to you thus far is Christian fiction, and this one included. And this one is entitled Forever Hidden. And this was another Alaska read. I tend to like books set in Alaska. I've never been there and probably won't because I don't want to be eaten by bears. But I like stories set in Alaska. And this one, it was interesting. These girls, their father passes away, and they, with their grandfather and their mother, they move to Alaska to a homestead, and they build this homestead, and their grandfather gets sick, and so he's in maybe like a coma. And during that, they have to figure out how to take care of the farm. Well, right before this attack hits him, a man had come to the farm to speak to him about a job and was looking for him, had been sent there by his grandfather to send a message, a letter, or I can't remember now which one it was, but and this grandfather, who's about to be in this coma, makes a deal with this young man. He gets him to agree to be present with the farm and his family, his daughter and his granddaughters, in a particular way. And then this attack hits, and so not everyone on the farm thinks it's a great idea for him to be there, and they don't know about the agreement. But a lot of things happen. You find that not everyone in the community wants things to go well for this farm and for this young man. And a lot of work is done in this book on attitude, spiritual position, people who have backstories that they need to deal with and clean up in their lives so that they can have peace. It was a good story. It's more of a calm kind of book, but there was a lot going on at the same time. It was a good read. I could recommend all of these books. They were really enjoyable novels, truly. The next one I read was by Nancy Mehl, Mehl, and it was entitled Mind Games. And I'm going to tell you that it was a suspense novel. This woman works for the FBI, and she is the daughter of a serial killer who went to prison. And so she has a lot. She has her, history, which has made it difficult for her to have, jobs, because some units do not want to work with her because of her history. And then she just has a lot in herself because of her history. And people are suspicious of the methods that she uses she catches serial killers. She doesn't catch them. She helps those who catch them by helping them figure out who the serial killer is. And she has some unorthodox methods for sorting out who that is. And people are suspicious. And this book is more intense. Nancy Mehl knows how to really get you on the edge of your seat, but she also knows how to really bring faith into that arena as well. It was artfully done. It's a really good book. Then the last book of the month was by Lynn Austin, another Christian. The entire month of April was Christian fiction. And so the last book of the month was by Lynn Austin, and it was entitled Long Way Home. And this was about a World War II veteran who ends up in the VA, and the VA does not want to let him go home. He is struggling, and he's just shut down. And his best friend is the girl who lived next door growing up, and she does not have a good family, so she has spent a lot of time with his family. And now she works in the veterinary clinic that his dad has. And she and his parents start the process of trying to figure out what's going on with him so that they can help him come back to himself. And so we have a dual timeline. We have the story of them searching for those answers, and a lot goes on there. And you see a lot of her life, what she struggles with, what they struggle with, what he struggles with. But then you see and characters that come into the story. But then the other timeline is you see the story of and it's not, I say dual timeline, it's not that far back, because you actually are seeing the history, like what is the story that left him in the VA sitting there like that. You see that story. And so it begins, back when the war began, and you just walk through it. So I don't know if you'd really call that dual timeline, but it's two different stories, two different two different places that we go. And so when we're with the backstory, you learn and you see what some of the Jews went through and some of the people who helped them, what it was like for them trying to survive. And ultimately you see what this young man did and what brought him to where he was. And it truly was a beautiful story. It brought me to tears. It was one of the best reads of the year for me, and it truly brought me to tears. Beautiful book. Dusty. That's Dusty. I cannot recommend it enough. I think if you are looking for books that tell a real story, tell a long story, give you depth, give you something to hold on to, Lynn Austin is a good author for that. I can really recommend her for that. So those are my April reads. What did you read during April? I'm very curious. I would love to know. If you're here and you visit, leave a comment for me. Leave an emoji. Hit the like if you've never been here before. I'd love for you to subscribe so that we can stay in contact. And I'll be sharing more as we go. Bye for now.